So more Eskom-related evidence has been heard at the state capture inquiry today, with the power utilities' former CEO Matshela Koko back on the stand. Yesterday, the commission heard evidence from a travel agency that handled trips for Gupta associate Salim Essa. The agency says Koko was one of the people it planned trips for. eNCA's journalist Khayelihle Khumalo is tracking that story. And Kaya, we had a bit of a rocky start to proceedings today, building on from what happened yesterday. Why did we have a rocky start today?
Especially because, Tila says, when you look at those two travel agents yesterday, they were quite clear in saying that Mr. Koko was one of the beneficiaries of those trips that were arranged by Salim Essa, somebody who's always been dubbed as a Gupta lieutenant. So this morning has gone off on a very unpleasant use of language. In fact, going as far as accusing evidence leader Seleka of lying and saying those two witnesses, some of them, they were disowning some of the paragraphs that were contained in the affidavit. But Tila Caesar, let's take a listen this particular interaction.
I'm going to put a stop to this type of line that puts words in my mouth that I never said when the transcripts are in black and white. I'm saying this, Chair, because I went to bed last night very aggrieved because I watched the traveling agents here. I watched them reading paragraphs in their affidavit that they disowned. I've constantly told you that your legal team and your investigating people are coaching these weaknesses to the extent that they come here and say, this is not me. I did not write this. And nothing happens. I wrote to you at the beginning that your investigators, Mr. Seleka in particular, are coaching these weaknesses. I'm getting upset, but I don't like it.
As far as the Mr. Koko, obviously if you have something to say about the travel agents, you can deal with that in due course.
I do have.
But my recollection is that as far as you were concerned, as far as what they had to say about you, I didn't think that there was anything in dispute between your version and their version.
So he's obviously aggrieved about the processes of the commission as well as the evidence leaders and investigating team. But what is at the heart of that, him being aggrieved around this issue of the travel agents? What happened yesterday and now that just doesn't add up for him to be this aggrieved?
I think it's a matter of how everything is unfolded, Tula Caesar, especially because the two travel agents were quite clear that Salim Essa ordered these trips and he would pay for Mr. Matshela Koko alongside his family members. There was a point where they were in Asia, so they had to travel from Indonesia to Dubai, then Dubai to Johannesburg, and that costed about 100,000 rand. So just like the chair is saying that, look, as much as there were some inconsistencies, but it's quite clear that you benefited from the travels that were organized by the Gupta associates. But of course, he's not happy with how, the man of the evidence was brought forth. But also, most importantly, we know that Mr. Matshela Koko has always had this contention of saying that there's a preconceived outcome. And of course, the chair's always been at pains to say, hang on, you're here to tell your own side of the story. So it's important that you really tell the commission exactly what's happened.
Yeah. All right, Kaya, unfortunately, we're completely out of time. Just briefly tell us about the issue of the penalties that has also come up.
That's true, Tilis, especially because at some point, so with optimum coal suppliers, so Eskom was owed about 2 billion rand there. So now the issue is that, so how did Eskom reach a point where that amount was reduced to about 500 million rand? There was no board approval. So this was quite a very suspicious dealing. But then again, you do have Mr. Koko coming again saying, look, at the time, the current president, Ramaphosa, was the chair of Optimum. So a lot of things happened there. And also at some point, Optimum wanted to get about 5.5 billion rand from Eskom. So there's quite a lot to come.